Yes, yes, I know. I'm like, hey, what's going on?
But you know
Right,
what it is? It's Wednesday, time for the Chicago Homebuyer Show.
right. Welcome, welcome to the Chicago Homebuyer Show, where Chicago and Northwest Indiana buyers get their answers. I'm Dione
Yes.
Branch with the Lord Dream Home, helping buyers and sellers throughout the Chicago and Northwest Indiana.
And I'm Lisa J. White with Nexa Linden, the House Money Mama, also helping families so that they can understand their financing options so they can purchase with confidence.
All right, yes. So today, Lisa, we're talking to every renter who's wondering, should I keep renting? Only time for me to buy. If you ever felt like this, you're paying someone else's mortgage every month, and so today's show is just for you.
Absolutely. So where do you want to start?
Well, let's start. Let's start with why people continue to rent, right?
Okay, good
I mean,
place.
yeah, yeah. So what I see is the biggest reasons we hear are I don't have enough money. My credit isn't good enough. Interest rates is too high. Right? Homes cost too much. I'll just wait till next year. I'll just wait. Right. So
How-
what
so you want to know how many people actually qualify before they think they do?
exactly, right? Like I'm telling
Well, really, a lot more than people realize. A lot of renters assume that they need 20% down. They think they need to have perfect credit and high income. But none of those things are actually true. Some buyers qualify with 3% down, 3.5% down payment assistance, credit scores in the low to like mid 600s. The biggest
you.
mistake really is not talking to me, not talking
Right.
to a lender.
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely. You always, if people call me first and I always like, hey, have you spoken to a lender yet? And they're like, no. So, um, like you said, that's the best place to start is with the lender. So, what does rent really cost, right? People are always like, oh, I'll just stay in rent, right? So, let's
Yeah.
talk about like what about something people don't even calculate. They just, I just pay the rent. But the true cost of renting, imagine paying 2,000 a month. So that's like $24,000 every
Every
year
year. Yep.
that you're paying towards rent. So $2,000, you're paying 24,000 every year. And if you stayed there for 5 years, you've given that owner $120,000. You probably pretty much paid off some of their mortgage. You definitely paid off 5 years of their mortgage,
Yep.
or more. So after 5 years, what do you own? Do you own anything?
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, exactly.
But
So,
when you own a home, what happens?
right. Yeah. So part of that every month goes towards building your own equity instead of paying the landlord. And, you know, paying the landlord's mortgage. That's what you're doing. And man, the equity that you could get with 120,000 in your own home and doing something with it later.
Absolutely.
Right.
I usually tell people you're paying somebody's mortgage. It might as well be yours.
Hmm.
So you do have to also think about something else. Usually rent is going to increase. It's going to keep going up year over year. That's standard.
Yeah.
They say cost of living or whatever they attribute it to, but that doesn't happen with mortgage. You got a fixed interest rate, so that's going to stay the same. Your rate is not going to change. It's consistent. Now taxes, insurance can change. That's always possible, but to be real honest with you, that can go up or down.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't know, right? But your principal and your interest, it does not change. It's going to stay the same. So that predictability helps you to be able to budget.
Correct. Right. Because nowadays I've seen some landlords now with the way markets are changing and they've actually gone up greatly on their tenants' rent. So
Yep.
you're thinking, oh, I'm paying 900, and next month he says you're about to renew to 1800. I mean, just it's exactly what I have seen. Some people come to me and say that. So here's something many buyers don't know. Sometimes buying, costs the same or even less as than renting,
I,
right?
yep. I was
Right.
just talking to somebody about that the other day. To be honest with you, we were having a discussion about, how do they know if they should rent or buy, and what rental payments are like versus what mortgage payments are like. And I gave the example because we've had a couple of people where their rent was actually more than the mortgage that I put them into. So they
Mm-hmm.
saved money by buying, obviously paying less amount for the monthly payment, but then they also started building money because now they're able to build equity, and they weren't doing that while they were just renting. So the first
Listen,
step up, go ahead, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I was gonna say, how can someone find out?
Oh, the first step I would say would just get a pre-approval. We review
Mm-hmm.
the income, the credit, the assets. We look at, the debts that you have, and then that lets me know. I like to call it the CIA, credit, income, and assets. That's my
Yeah.
thing. But then we tell you what it is that you would qualify for. We give you an estimate of the payment programs available, and I even give you an estimate of cash to close, so right up front an idea of what you would need to have in order to close on the loan.
Right. No guessing.
Yep,
Right.
just facts.
All that's taken on. And here's something that I always tell buyers: don't shop for houses first. Shop for your payment, right?
Yeah.
One good thing about working with Lisa is she is a mortgage broker. So a mortgage broker actually has connection to many lenders. So she's really a good place to start with, right? You don't have to do the shopping for the different mortgage payments because she could actually do it for you. But
Yep.
definitely take your time, shop for your payment. Once you know what your monthly budget is, because I always ask people, what's your budget? How much,
Hmm.
not how much you approve for, because maybe you might be approved for 400,000, but really only want to spend 250,000. Whatever it is, know what your budget is, and then finding the right homes become a lot easier.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I know we didn't really have this on, our list of things to talk about, but I'd like to throw this in for us tonight. Okay. So when we're talking about renting versus owning, I just want people to understand, we're not anti-rent, but we are pro strategy. So it is where we're concerned about making sure you start at a place where, you understand rent is not throwing your life away. Rent does give you shelter, flexibility, and fewer repair responsibilities. And if your job moves, your household is changing, your income is unstable, and you're building your finances, then renting may be better for you as opposed to buying, something. It may not be the right time. So I just wanted to bring that up. And then also, I think it's good where people can actually think about like what signs they may need to consider in order to know if they're ready to own or if they should stay as a renter or not. So one of the things, it's probably about five of them that I could think of. So one of the things, and if you have any input as well, Dion, please jump right in. But the first thing I would say is if you expect to stay in the area long enough for ownership to make sense, then that may be a sign that you're ready to own. It's not necessarily a universal magic number, as they say, but usually 3 to 5 years is good as a useful planning conversation because that way buying and selling, because they both have costs, you can kind of do an estimate of which one makes the most sense for you.
Okay.
Do you have any that you want to add? Because I have a couple more that I could jump to.
I think you could go ahead. I don't
Okay.
have it in the chair right now.
Okay, no problem. So another thing I would say is if you can choose a property for the life that you actually live, then obviously you may be ready to own. Because when you think about like bedrooms, accessibility, the commute, schools, or childcare, maintenance level, and whether you truly want a condo, a townhome, single family home, or a 2 to 4 unit property, that may be a sign that you're actually ready to own. Because if you're ready for those things, that if that's something that you require a certain amount of bedrooms, creative freedom, accessibility that you may need, your commute to be a certain amount of time, or maybe within a certain area, even if the time doesn't matter, the schools and different things like that, then it may be time for you to own, because renting may be too restrictive for you in those areas. A third thing I would say, we just talked about it, the full housing payment. If the entire housing payment, the principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and PMI, if those things, at HOA, if you end up buying a condo or townhome, but if all of those things fit into your budget and they make sense, not just necessarily the maximum that a lender can approve, because you may qualify for a certain amount, but that doesn't mean you have to spend that entire amount. So when you look at the full housing payment, if that payment fits into your budget, then you can think to yourself, okay, now the approval has answered my question. Can the loan meet my guidelines? Your personal budget answers, can I still live, save, handle emergencies, and sleep at night, and things like that, because we don't want you to exhaust your emergency fund to buy a house. And how do they say you're house poor? Is that the term they use? All your money is basically just going to the house. So you end up being house poor. So you don't want that. You want to make sure that the numbers make sense. Another thing would be just thinking about, are you ready to make some trade offs? So your first home actually may not check every box. And you can speak to that, Dion, because, we have people a lot of times that they come in with a certain idea of what they want to buy. How does that normally go?
Yeah, some people do feel like they know what they want, and then as you're going through and searching for the different homes, you find out that maybe a couple of things. Maybe the budget that you intended doesn't work out, so you end up having to make some adjustments in that way. Or
Mhm.
you just, the things that you thought you wanted actually kind of change as you're going through, and you have to adjust and say, okay, well, maybe I thought I really wanted, a master with an attached bedroom, bath,
Bathroom, yeah.
restroom. But then now, these houses, they actually look nice, and I'm able to still stay within my budget and get what I want based off of that. So you always definitely have to be a little bit flexible in your thoughts as far as when you're going in, everybody has an idea of what they want. They want the luxury, they want everything. And then you kind of have to do a little bit of compromising along the way.
What that just made me think of, I know you're gonna laugh at me. That just made me think of Zsa Gabor.
Oh,
You
yeah, yeah.
remember that Green Acres? She's like, you are
Yeah.
my wife. She's like, goodbye, city
Yes,
life.
yes, yes, yeah, for
So she
sure.
had to go and get out there on that farm with them chickens and cows.
Right. Yeah. She was done. She was like, wait a minute, how did I get here? Like,
Right.
mhm.
So that's, I mean, obviously, what we're talking about, it wouldn't be that extreme of a difference, but you do want to think about, are you ready to make some trade offs in order to have something that you actually own? Are you ready to make those kind of trade offs? So, I would think the last thing I was thinking of is that um, still kind of goes back to the numbers, the money part again. If you have a financial cushion for after closing. Because again, we don't want you to be house poor, but we also don't want you to be move-in ready poor either. So if buying a house is taking away every dollar that you have, then a lot of times the first repair that you may end up needing, that becomes a huge crisis, because now you don't have funds aside in order to be able to handle the repairs. And a good plan is, you have to think about that. You have to think about your down payment, your closing costs. You have to think about your move-in expenses, immediate repairs, because sometimes even though you buy a house, it may be quote unquote move-in ready, but that doesn't mean there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Every house has something wrong with it, I think, but it's just a matter of time as to when that's going to manifest itself in the way that you actually have to deal with it. So thinking about
Okay.
things like that, all of those items, emergency reserves and stuff like that are really important to know if you're ready to own or not.
All right. So let's I think we said we were gonna do a little challenge with our guests.
Yeah, I think we should do a challenge.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about any of the because I know some people, there's some questions that we kind of hear a lot. Did you want to talk about any of those?
Uh, we can if you wanted to. I was just gonna go to the challenge, but let's go on to the questions.
Okay. Well, some of the questions that I usually get is how much money do I really need? That's one thing. So, and again, that is something that we talk about right up front. So we do an estimate for cash to close. So it's not going to be a surprise as to what you need to have and when you need to have it. Some people think you have to have all these things together before you actually get pre-qualified. But like for example, tax season. Around tax season, you have a refund coming. We could count that and use that as part of your assets because that's something that you're going to be receiving. So, or maybe other lump sum payouts, gifts. If somebody's going to gift funds for you at closing, that's something too that you could think about as being an option for factoring into how much money you really need, because sometimes it's not as much as what you think it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. One question. My lease ends in a few in 6 months. What should I when should I start? So
Mm.
we say start at least 3 months prior to your lease ending, right? So you really
Yes.
should start now, right? Within 6 months because you're preparing. You should be preparing, making sure that your credit's good, making sure your finances, saving your money, things like that. But then if you have all those things in place, then I would say within those 3 months prior to your lease ending, then you can definitely go ahead and get your pre-approval. We can start
Mm-hmm.
looking. And most of the time we might finish about a month prior to your lease actually ending. So you can
Right.
tell your lender, your
Your
landlord,
landlord.
hey,
Mm-hmm.
I like to leave early or be able to have that flexibility to move out within that month, right? Some people need that additional time in order to move. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that's a great point. Another thing that I hear a lot of times is, what if my credit is below a 620? I know you don't like to talk about this one, but we do have programs for people that have credit scores that are below 620. So that is something that doesn't have to stop you from buying. Of course, my suggestion would be, if you don't have to move right away, if you can take maybe a couple of months and increase your credit score or talk to me, we have a consultation. If I need to refer you to our credit restoration guy, then we can do that, because maybe you just need to do a couple of things to get your credit above the 620, and then that just opens up more options for you. So it is a question that we get a lot. If my credit is lower, am I still able to buy a home? But actually, the answer to that is usually yes. It's
Right.
not always just the number that comes with the credit report, but it's the contents that are on it, because we evaluate all of that. Underwriters are going to look at
Okay.
not just the numbers, but the actual, verbiage, the time, the history, who you've had credit with, what kind of credit. We look at all of that stuff.
Yeah, that's great. So, what about are the condos a bad first home? So, the answer is no. No, condos is a strong fit for someone who starts at a particular location or less exterior maintenance. So condos are just as good as a single family home. It depends on you as the buyer what you're actually looking for, and you want to be able to afford something. So start with something small, and then you can also so you can live there for a few years, and then after a few years we sell that and then purchase something else. So condos do help with some of the um your flexibility as well in the beginning. So I would say, hey, condos are good. They have some different fees associated with them, but they're
Mm-hmm.
still a good start.
Okay, sounds good. How about this one? Should I wait for rates to drop? That's another one. And my answer to that would be buy when the payment cash requirement, and life plan and property work now. A future refinance might be possible. That's always something you can consider, kind of have in the back of your mind, but it's never a guarantee because I can't tell you for sure what rates will do, what your property value would do, what your credit will look like, what your income will be, and then guidelines. Although they don't change that often, they can have some adjustments that may have a negative impact on you being able to refinance. So you can't bank on refinancing. You can definitely have it as a strategy and a possibility, but I would have it as something kind of in my arsenal, that in the event that I need to use it, that I would do that. But I always tell people don't count on that. So should you wait for rates to drop? Not necessarily. You want to buy when the payment, the cash requirement, the life plan, and the property work sense in that moment, in that season.
Okay. All right. So now can we go to the challenge?
You excited about this challenge? Yes. Challenge loading. Let's go, girl. What you got?
All right. So we're gonna learn something special. We want to do a little challenge, and so it's like the fire your landlord challenge. All right.
Okay.
So
I like
if
the sound of that.
yes, yes, if you're renting, we want you to just do these first three steps. All right. So the first step is find out what your credit score is.
Ding, 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 ding. I can help with that.
Yes, 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 yes. You, Lisa can help. You can always go to Equifax. You can, there you can do myfico.com. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of different places that you can go. Don't use Credit Karma, but myfico.com and using the mortgage scores
Yeah,
is the best place for you just for yourself to go ahead and see what your credit score is. All
that's
right.
excellent. What about the next step?
Schedule a free consultation. All
Whoop,
right.
whoop.
So,
Did you
yeah,
hear that?
so
She said free.
free. Yes. So
Free
you can
Friday.
definitely go ahead, schedule a consultation with Lisa or myself, and we can talk to you about the home buying process. And so you'll have that information, how to schedule. It'll be in the description of this special, this episode. All
Yeah,
right.
just put in free 99 if you're interested in a free consultation. Free 99 right in the comments. We
Yeah.
got
Yeah, and
you.
we'll send you the information. So, and the last step is see what you qualify for. No pressure. Just go ahead. Talk to Lisa as your lender. Give her all the information she needs in order to get you set with qualifying, and then you can just see what you qualify to be able to buy.
Absolutely. So that's it. Just 3 steps. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's an easy challenge. You all can do that. Just I
Mhm.
can see it already.
Right. So I would say just go ahead, give us a call, put free 99 in the comments, and then we can definitely send you the links in order for you to get started with us.
Yes, yes, yes. So where do they have to call, Dion?
All right. If they're interested in actually just giving us a call, you can contact Lisa White, and that's her information there.
Start with the Linda. That's the first part of your challenge.
Yes. All right. And then if you like to contact me, you can contact me with my information below as well.
Absolutely. Free 99, free consultation.
All right. All right, guys. Well, we thank you for joining us. It's
Chicago
another
Homebuyer
homebuyer Chicago
Show.
homebuyer show on Wednesdays at 6. So we're here for you every week. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you for
Thank you.
joining us.